you ever been in a situation where you felt guilty? Guilty because you haven't used your resources to help a family member, friend, or even colleague. You know them after all, right? You then succumb to this feeling, but now all of your generosity is now putting you at a disadvantage financially, spiritually, and mentally. Most of us have been there. Within the next 10 minutes, I'm going to share with you 3 reasons why being more selfless than selfish is more damaging for you in the long run. And towards the end of the video, we share some strategies to bring awareness to this. Now with number 1, selfish versus selfless. Most of us have been taught, whether through society, environment, or religion, the value of being selfless. And yes, we will call this a value to be upheld. However, when you put this in perspective in the modern world today or any time in history, what has a completely selfless person actually got to offer? If you are a person who is 100% selfless, you probably don't have a lot of money, as you give your money away. You probably don't have a lot of resources, such as contacts and information. Now, if you live this virtuous life, more power to you. However, if you only have your time and empathy to give, that's only going to carry you so far, especially in a first world country today. Now flip the switch. If you are a person who is 100% selfish, you are the complete opposite. Probably a bit narcissistic, the only person you look out for is for yourself, you contribute best to society by producing to then consume. Now I want to ask you this question. Which person is a better net positive to society? The 100% selfless person or the 100% selfish person? Really think about this and leave your answer in the comment section down below. The reason I bring this up is because I believe that a good majority of us will be somewhere in between, especially if you live in a first world country. You may feel some kind of civic duty to society based on the origin of your values, that you should endlessly help others, but you also understand that you need to uphold or even improve your own standard of living. This is where the conflict comes in. This deep conflict of interest, where people seek to take advantage because we have no boundaries. No boundaries for when enough is enough. Givers need limits because takers have none. We give in to this deep yearning of civic duty, often at the expense of our well-being, because we make the assumption that the favor will often be returned. This is where our next reasoning comes in. 2. Making assumptions. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe that they are the truth. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we tend to be asking for problems. We tend to make these assumptions as we often lack the courage to ask the uncomfortable questions. The uncomfortable questions of, is the receiver really using the resources that you have given them for the intended uses? Or am I being taken as a fool? Everybody has the right to tell you yes or no, but you always have the right to ask. When we make these assumptions, what happens is that we tend to lack clarity as time progresses. Now, goodwill is different. Different in the sense that we give our resources for nothing in return, and it should be left at that. But it's the cases when we haven't given out resources for nothing in return, and expect a return of our generosity, which is the most damaging. It may go hours, weeks, or even days until we get a return of the gesture, in which it becomes a habit. 3. It becomes a habit. A habit that you accept mediocrity. A habit that you will let things slip just this one time. A habit that your kindness will be taking as a weakness. We are habitual animals after all. Now when you think about it, who is to blame? The person who is taking advantage or the giver? That's for you to decide, and to be honest, they should be somewhat of equal blame placed on both parties. But on this channel, we talk about taking responsibility for our own actions, and this video is not different. Now, for the strategies to combat others trying to take advantage of you. These strategies are based on the 3 ways already discussed on how people may seek to take advantage of you, with first being, create boundaries. Create boundaries of what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate. As mentioned earlier, this phrase is so powerful that we are going to say it twice. Givers need limits. because takers have none. Secondly, making assumptions often comes from a lack of clarity of intentions and motives. Gather a clearer picture by asking questions. Thirdly, overcoming bad habits is a more tricky issue, as there may be a more underlying issue, and if there is one, we are usually one of the last people to see it in ourselves. Thus, we created a video on 14 Stoic rules for a better life to help improve your awareness of your forthcomings. Click here to watch the video. Alternatively, seek professional advice.